And I'm going to turn it over to, I think I can call him my friend, and still a voice on the bridge at WRTI, because you got to honor people who's here too, and he is a father, by the way. I think he enjoys being a father. I would say. All right, J. Michael Harrison.
Thank you, Karen. I'm going to go up here with all this talent. That's all right. I want to feel the talent. All right. I felt that. How's everybody doing? You know, as I said, you know, as that energy was being spread by all these gifted poets in the house, it made me very emotional when I think of fatherhood. I'm going to try to hold back some tears today. But it's great to be here. I really appreciate Karen for inviting me. I love this space. I've always, you know, enjoyed being in here at the Foster Club. Let's give them a big round of applause for allowing this to happen today. We need spaces and places to do things like this, right? So again, let's give it up for Karen for making this happen as well. And you know, I've had the unique opportunity to be involved with WRTI for 30 plus years at this point. And you know, just a lot of bright moments. So when Karen reached out and said, you know, she definitely wanted to acknowledge, you know, some of my former colleagues, definitely it was an easy decision to say, yes, I'm here, let's do it. But just the environment, the atmosphere today is phenomenal. As she mentioned, I'm a father. I have 3 adult children at this point who are very healthy and financially sustaining without much assistance from me. So that's a beautiful thing. They're on their journey. Yes, they're on their journey doing their thing and make me proud every day. Real quick, just sharing something, you know, my father, when, you know, I discovered this much later, but I came across this poem that he had written for me when I was 4 years old, and that's what he titled it, 4 years old. I don't have it with me today, but when I saw it, of course, I was floored because I was crazy about animals. Every summer we were at the zoo, watching it on television, and he incorporated all of that. And I had no idea that my father had a poem in him. So for me to discover that much after his death was, you know, just phenomenal. But one of the things that he did for me as a young man, you know, school wasn't necessarily my priority. It was sports, 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 and more sports. So what he did as a father, he recognized in the effort to get me to read, he established subscriptions to Sports Illustrated, Sporting News, and Sport Magazine in my name. So as a teenager, a tween and teen, I had these magazines coming to the house addressed to me. And he knew this was something that I would read. So if you saw my bedroom back then, there were pictures of Muhammad Ali knocking out George Foreman, Dr. J, David Thompson, before there was Air Jordan, there was David Skywalker. All right, so all of these photographs, they just cut, that was the wallpaper of my life back then. And he did that. So I always, you know, recognized that that was a significant turning point for me because it made me want to read. I am an addict, but I don't want your help. I don't need your help because the addict that I am a fan addict. I am a fanatic about music. Music is my sanctuary. Music has never let me down. I loves myself some music. I am also a fanatic about radio. I feel we are so blessed in Philadelphia to have had the opportunity to experience WRTI from the Freedom Sounds days to the Point of Jazz days, right up to the bright moments that still happen at WRTI. WKDU with the Black Experience in Music. If you don't know, do a little homework. But that was a level of religion for me. Even WXPN with the creative activity that they were presenting in the 70s and the 80s blew me away. And of course, I mean, how could I grow up in Philadelphia without WDAS? So I'm a fan of radio, I'm a fan of music. So to be here today to acknowledge Jeff Duperon, Harrison Ridley Jr., Bob Perkins, Homer Skip Jackson, I'm honored to have had them in my life one way or another. And I would be remiss to not mention, you know, another great communicator that is in the house with us today. Warren Cooper is here. And he's given a lot to all of us through his time in radio. So I'm going to put my reading glasses on for a second. I'm glad I brought them today. The band gave me some stuff to read. So we're going to be able to make that happen in a second. But you know, I just picked a couple of words that when I think of some of these folks that we're acknowledging today, that came to the forefront for me. You know, I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Harrison Ridley Jr. over the years, but fundamentally, all you have to do is just listen to the title of his show to get an understanding of who this man, you know, was and what he gave to us. So, the historical approach to the positive music. That was the title of his show. This man was truly a historian, a researcher, and a giver, and he gave so much to us. How about a big round of applause for Harrison Ridley Jr. Several months back, the late Bob Perkins and I had an opportunity to kind of honor Harrison Ridley Jr. on Temple's campus, and that was, you know, courtesy of the Bloxson Collection and the legendary and iconic Dr. Diane Turner. JD, Jeff Duperon, you know, I remember when he first came to WRTI, coming from, you know, New Orleans up to Philadelphia and then connecting with WRTI. But, you know, I refer to him as a jazz soldier. He's passionate, obviously, about the music, but also, you know, an educator, and gave so much service to the community with organizations like Jazz Bridge and others, and of course on air as a personality at WRTI. So how about a round of applause for the late great Jeff Duperon. You know, BP with the GM, Bob Perkins. I mean, legendary for sure. You know, but one of the things that I think always I appreciated about Bob Perkins, he was a radio professional. You know, in the truest sense. Bob Perkins was a radio professional. And for close to 6 years, I used to follow him on Monday and Tuesday nights. So as we transitioned from his show to me on air, we would have a period of time to, you know, just talk and reminisce about life, Philadelphia sports, of course, the music. But that was, you know, something that I don't take for granted. Last but not least, you know, amongst this list, Homer Skip Jackson. And yes, Homer Skip Jackson. You know, and yes, a large round of applause for Bob Perkins as well, please. But Homer Skip Jackson, Homer, you know, I remember him on the air. But later in life, we became collaborators. And in the early days, in the think tank days of what became the Philadelphia Jazz Project, we spent a lot of time conversating about the possibilities. You know, what this thing could become, how we could bring it online and do great things. So I was just honored with the fact that he trusted me enough to have these conversations. You know, I had him visit my radio program many times, and it was a pleasure. He used to participate on a panel discussion we used to feature on the show. But Homer, you know, offered so much to me in collaboration, and I'm always thankful for those opportunities. We shared a lot of time together. So a few words that, you know, come to mind when I think of Homer Jackson. Homer is a creative. He's all about creativity. He had a high level of versatility. Homer was an artist. He was indeed a creative. So understanding, one, what it felt like to try to get your creativity out to the world, he had perspective. And in working with artists to help them get their creativity out to the world, you know, again, he had perspective. So he's a creative, he was very versatile, he was definitely visionary, okay? There was nothing out of the realm of possibility. If you could think about it, it was a possibility. And definitely, I threw ideas at him, and he said, let's see if we can make it work. All right, we did a 6-hour saxophone marathon at the Church of the Advocate. All right, I know if I threw that idea at some people, a lot of people, they're like, are you nuts? Homer said, nuts is definitely what we need to do. So we did it, all right? So bright moments for Homer. Please give a big round of applause to the arts advocate, Homer Jackson. And I just want to throw another name out there as well, who's been on the air at WRTI forever and a day, probably coming close to 50 years on air, the legendary David Ortiz and El Viaje, you know, which airs tonight. The efforts that that brother has done to get music to the world should be recognized. So let's give all of them a big round of applause. Please, thank you. So, you know, they're definitely titans, and it's great that we can remember and appreciate those titans. So we have a phenomenal band that is poised and ready to supply you with a great finale, no pressure, but a great finale, and I'm looking forward to hearing them for a second. And as I mentioned earlier, they have a few thoughts about fatherhood that they wanted to share. So I'm going to take a second and share that with you. And my man Bert, it's good to see you, man. You know, and looking forward to hearing you. All right. But Bert has, you know, just a little thought here. Fatherhood provides love, protection, and direction. And, you know, I've definitely had the opportunity to experience that. I've had the opportunity to share that, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. And Walter, I got a paragraph here from Walter.
It's a bunch of names.
All right, so I may have to call on you for some pronunciation corrections, but I'm going to make it work.
I was just thinking, where's you at? Because it's supposed to be just like a sentence and a whole bunch of
Okay. All right, so I think we're ready to go. All right, so Walter, I'm forever indebted to the love and care from these folks on this celebration of all who father in music. Maura Bank, Angel Figueroa, Mayungo Jackson, Luca Brandoni, Rod Poole, John B. Williams, his father Barry Weinberg, Badal Roy, who I've met, great percussionist. And in Scholar, William F. Pinar, Peter Applebaum, Frederick Erickson, Leora Bresler, all right, I'm doing well, okay. William E. Dahl, Ted T. Aoki, all right. Now I don't want to celebrate because this next one I'm a little uncertain of. I might just say Greg D, but Greg Demetriadis, okay. Rebecca Page, Mary Metz, Paul Stoller. Let's give a big round of applause. All right. We got through that. All right, I may need a hug after this. All right, Brandon, where you at? Okay. Brandon, fatherhood is about becoming the compass I once longed for, a quiet strength, a steady hand, and a legacy shaped more by presence than by words. Let's hear it for that. Okay. Elijah, most people want to see you succeed. Pay attention to them. Yes, Elijah, thank you for that. Chilling in the back in the cut. Warren, I've been mentored on this journey by the light and love of a presence that has taken many forms to lead me and guide me through my destiny. Let's hear it for Warren. Clayton. All right. Drummer. The drummer, and I get a drummer song, all right. Clayton, my father has been a mentor by example. I watched him put himself last time and time again to make sure the family always had. He certainly taught me the duty and responsibility a dad upholds is one of selflessness. Let's hear it for Clayton. E.T., all right, with the funky skimmer on. All right, so my daughter inspires me to show up every day and keep going. Daughters do that. So, this is the Color Me Father Ensemble. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I'm going to step off the stage. Thank you all for being here.